Florida, everybody, as the Orange Bowl quickly approaches New Year's Eve. But guys, let's talk about two specific bits of news that have sort of percolated the last couple of days. Most recently, Jeff, 3 Clemson kids sent home for failing drug tests, most notably freshman receiver and primary deep threat Deon Cain. What's your sense of why this was all unfolding just before practice Tuesday afternoon?
Right. It's really interesting timing because I spoke to Deon Cain at Media Day. He was having a great time.
I know.
He was enjoying himself. And then they go off to practice, and that's when the team finds out he won't be there for practice. He will not be there for the Orange Bowl. And he is a crucial part of this offense. Dabo says he's not the starter, but he emerged. He's a true freshman, explosive, incredibly impressive freshman, averaging over 17 yards a catch. He was truly Deshaun's deep threat, and he was getting better and better week by week.
So you just think they didn't want that news to come out before the Media Day onslaught?
You don't want them talking about that for 60 minutes straight at Media Day.
Speaking of Media Day onslaughts, Chris, Joe Mixon, who, if you follow Oklahoma, you know he was suspended last year dealing with a domestic case, freshman, redshirt this time around, and yesterday at Media Day was the first time he dealt with cameras and reporters and microphones. What sort of insight can you share about why this is the first time all season we're seeing this kid?
Well, I think there's still a lot of legal proceedings that are involved with Joe Mixon right now. There's a civil case that could play out. So there's not a situation where Joe can say, hey, I'm sorry for this, because, again, that could end up tying up in court in some way, shape, or form the civil cases. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I'll play one here on Campus Insiders to make us all happy. But I'll say this much. I think Joe's a freshman. Joe's a redshirt freshman. He struggled a little bit, I think, with that spotlight. And then, of course, the media hadn't had a chance to talk to him all year long. So they wanted answers to those questions of why and how have you recovered, and he didn't want to talk about those. So it was a really disappointing, I think, distraction for it playing out here at the Orange Bowl. But now that it's over and behind him, you hope you can move on and maybe you can get back to football. But it didn't really go well from a PR perspective, I think, yesterday. And fans are really taking personally some of, I don't want to say attacks, but some of the focus on the story, because for a lot of us in Oklahoma, it is about a 1.5 year old story too. It's just this was the first time he could talk about it.
It seems like there was a little bit of naivete on Oklahoma's part, that putting a kid out for the first time in arguably the biggest game of his life was probably not such a good idea. But regardless of what's going on both of these sides, both Bob Stoops and Dabo Swinney say this is not a distraction. They are focused squarely on winning this playoff game and advancing on to the championship game. We will know in just about a day and a half from now whether Clemson continues its undefeated streak or whether Oklahoma wins its 8th in a row en route to the national championship.
These updates are brought to you by our friends at Nova Home Loans, the official sponsor of you.